Welcome everybody to Mauritius. I don't want to forget to thank people that have really made it possible for us to meet. So big shout out to Sophia and her team for everything that you've done to make sure that we have this beautiful room and everything is arranged. I know that there were travel to be fixed, visas and all of that. So thank you. I am really very proud of Inform Africa team for the role that everybody has played in the bigger DSI Africa Consortium. And this is really important, especially for our pilot projects. See yourself as an integrated part of Africa, Inform Africa, but as much as possible, see yourself as part of DSI Africa. That's how you get the most out of it. So I think that arrangement is going to change a little bit. Larry, of course, is coming from University of Port Harcourt. That doesn't need introduction, so he's well integrated. So we really do want to see you be part of it. So I really want to thank members of Inform Africa that have made the DSI Africa a success. Huria isn't with us here, but she's part of Inform Africa, and she really played a role in helping Mauritius host DSI Africa. So in absentia, we want to recognize Huria. I know that, again, Sophia has acted as rapporteur for DSI Africa. Thank you very much. And then I want to... I want to really recognize Lanre and Victoria. One of the things that you've done, obviously with a lot of support from Project One, is really have us made it possible for us to take our requirements of expanding. You've worked really closely with Design. And the meeting we had with them as a group, I really saw the interaction. It was just phenomenal. So thank you both for being very proactive in that area. And then I really want to recognize, we've talked about it earlier, but I don't think we've really come as a group like this and recognize it. But ACROS has really been successful in getting another grant. But by getting that other grant, they've expanded the Inform Africa family because we are now using the same platform. So congratulations again. And next time we have it, we'll be very happy to have our our Ghanaian partners in the room. I know that a number of you met Charles, who comes from Zambia, so we're very excited about that. Congrats. And then finally, the icing on the cake, Kristen Stafford. Because for her taking over the guidance document from the governance and participating in the governance working group, she really did something that we all thought was not going to be possible because there was so much different views in terms of the guidance document for our governance, which is really governing data sharing in a fair kind of way. And she took it by the horn. She really did the work. It wasn't just taking in it, but she did the work. And she presented a document that yesterday as a steering committee, 99% of the individuals from zero, 99% of the individuals sign off on it. So we expand every time. And it's really important for us to know where we're coming from and to know the importance of what we're doing and why we are successful. I'm doing the forward, but it's not moving. You want me to do it on the laptop. So this is for a pointer? Oh, I see. So now I'm on my own. Okay. So you all know the individuals that are pushing Inform Africa. Our focus has not changed, is the role of data streams in informing infection dynamics in Africa. We have always had the pleasure of having Kristen and Sinn Féin and myself in most of it, and we're hoping that one of these days we will have Vivek and Tulio join. But we're very happy that even in the absence of Tulio, the work that the DMAC is doing is just exceptional. So we really want to recognize that. And thank you, Felix, for joining virtually. I put this up again to re-emphasize what DSI Africa is all about. You know, you can see our projects, our 3 projects that make up Inform Africa, but at the bottom you also see the pilot project. So understand that this is part and parcel of what we are about, okay? Very importantly, the governance guidelines that we talked about is really our linking with the bigger DSI Africa. So this is really key, and it's important that you think about that as we move forward. And we're very, very grateful for REDSA. So we're using data streams, but there is a reason, because as Brad always tells us, so what? So what to what we are doing? How does that affect? And please, I deliberately put some comments in red. Future pandemic preparedness. So as we move to the next phase, that must be something that we really consider even as now, because we have put it in our very early presentation, in our submission, that would be our focus. So whatever we're doing now, how have we moved that needle forward? So that's a very important discussions that we need to have. The others in green is really to impress on all of you that we have really delivered on most of the things, on most of our aims, but the last mile is always the most critical one. So we cannot lose track of the fact that we are empowering government leadership and country leadership and the government in pandemic preparedness with everything that we do. That's why the stakeholders' engagement has to be critical. We are very fortunate that even with the Inform Africa grant that we've gotten, we've had an opportunity to even add more. And Sinn Féin Project 2 has been successful in adding on climate as one of the areas that we can layer onto all this dynamic movement. And then again, the design collaboration. That's funny. Again, I want to recognize all of the successful pilots. I'm glad that everybody got on board and is moving forward. Now, as you work, I really do want to encourage you to integrate and think of the bigger Inform Africa and even the bigger DSI. Now, it's deliberate. The pilot projects that we picked was very deliberate. It was in line with the focus of Inform Africa, and it is to expand what we're doing. So we have really benefited in terms of moving the, building the capacity. Like Sophia was saying, now we've got more people being involved. We certainly have incorporated SVI through Landry in a lot of what we're doing. We did talk about vaccine coverage as one of the intervention. We looked at mobility, we looked at the use of masks, but we did ask, what about vaccine coverage in terms of the dynamics of everything that is happening? So these pilot projects, they're not standalone. They are really there at the beginning of our research project. So make sure you are aware of that and you incorporate it. Use this interaction as much as possible and see yourself. I see that it's already happening with the Reveal platform, really, with the interaction with Victoria and Kenneth. And then we're very excited about Kennedy's one because it moves us outside the two case countries that we have, Nigeria and South Africa. So you know that DSI Africa is very, very keen on dissemination of our findings and our interaction with stakeholders. And hat off to Aminu, the great Aminu, because it's just incredible how he has been able to use different tools to make sure that what we're doing is not just put out there, but it generates interaction and everything. So please recognize Aminu's effort. So in terms of building our capacity within Inform Africa, there are a number of trainings that our staff have participated in, which is just amazing. That's exactly what we want to happen. And then stakeholders engagement. This is something that we have done and really benefited from REDSTER, because REDSTER have done a lot of that, and I believe that Sophia will be sharing some of those videos. But we have borrowed a lot from them, interaction, and even how we engage our different populations. So we're eternally grateful for them. Not only did REDSTER push us to do our first 4 publications, but they really have helped us with the stakeholders engagement. We're looking forward to the one in 2025, and Brad does want us to keep him informed of that, because we want to have the government officials, we want to have ACROS on the build platform. Okay. And you remember that we also participated in the ONGAG 79, and it's a science summit. And I don't know, some of you heard NIH asking whether in-presence participation would be possible, but this is a great opportunity for us, again, to engage. Certainly in the session that we did, we had individuals from WHO that were doing really similar things that we were doing. So it was good for them to know that we're doing all of this work. These are the trainings, so I jumped to that. I was talking about the publications. And, you know, this one, we did it on ground by Sinn Féin and Zen. And it really has been popular. Again, thinking about the next phase, capacity building, and really moving this technology forward. So what next? Now, before we go and really look at Inform Africa, I want to remind us all about this slide. This is what was presented from DSI Africa. And these are the deliverables, and these are the outcomes. This is their yardstick for success. So they definitely want to make sure that DSI Africa moves towards developing centers of excellence in data science within the continent. That's going to support the younger ones and continue to build this capacity. It looks forward to the work that we do advancing policy and policy decisions on data science that will be ethnically relevant to all of the countries that are participating. And that's why the guidance document is so key and is so critical for us to recognize other powers rather than just us. Products, software solutions, this is where our industry partners come in. It's really important for us to show that, yes, we've gotten this, but how does that take us to the next step? Interdisciplinary. We're working with the engineers. Some of us are shifting. Some of us are doing this. We're working with the social scientists and different people in different fields. So this is really great. Hopefully we'll broaden even some more. Demonstration of feasibility. That's what I believe our first phase is doing, but we really must rapidly think about the second phase. How have we been able to really change what is happening within the continent, within the countries that we serve, through the work that we do, right? Increase capacity and develop advanced appropriate tools and applications. We can't do this without engaging the stakeholders to get a feedback from them and say, well, this is going to be helpful. That's not. So that is going to be very key in terms of what we do in the next 1.5 years. Um, and we want a network. So integrate within Inform Africa, expand through additional funding mechanisms, bring in pilot projects. All of that is part of that. And then, of course, new knowledge. So this is my final slide. And I just want to, having seen what DSI and NIH is really interested in, just to remind us of what Inform Africa is trying to accomplish. What are these multi-layer interactions that we feel from the very beginning that is affecting transmission and the impact of control measures, right? We've used COVID-19 and HIV. We've used Nigeria and South Africa as our cases. And we have looked at viral phylogenetic changes. That's what Project One is all about. Project One also looked at vulnerability index. How does that layer affect what we see in transmission and the impact of control measures? We've looked at mobility. As the viruses move, as people move, they move with the viruses. So how are these patterns explained? Through the supplement we added the layer of climate change, because Zen was able to show in Lagos when there's a flood, there's a separate movement of individuals, and he could even show the visits to the clinic. But in one of our meetings, remember that Dinesh and Rosemary encouraged us to go and see what were these visits about, and were they linked to any infectious disease, infection that's coming as a result of the flood, right? And then how has the adoption of public health measures affected this dynamism, right? We've talked about wearing of masks, we've talked about movement restrictions, and we've talked about vaccines, vaccination, and accepting it. How has all of that affected that? Then the presence of comorbidity, which is Project 3, where we're looking at the vulnerable through HIV infection, and then we're looking at protective mechanisms through probably HLA types, and vaccinations. So all of this are very complex layers that informs us, and there's very dynamic interactions. So how is this tool going to be able to just capture all of those interactions and be able to be like a forewarning to the country, to the government and the policies we work with? So our tool is Reveal Platform. We're going to work on it. We're going to make sure it begins to help countries to really do that. So the final question for us in the 1.5 years that we have, and then the second round, is how does all of this that we know, everything that we've done with the data streams that are available to us, how does this all help countries in pandemic preparedness? There's a lot of modeling, certainly in Project 2, that is part of the specific aims that we're looking forward to. And how do we add in artificial intelligence and machine learning? And it's interesting that Victoria was chatting to me earlier about this. And I said, yeah, that's where we're supposed to go. And we're hoping that in the first phase, we've understood, with all of the data that is available and the Reveal tool, we've understood how we can really look at this dynamics and the effect of control measures, and use all that information to predict pandemics or outbreaks that are coming, and to help countries prepare better. Okay. I'll stop there, and I'm sorry, I think I did 12 minutes, right? And hopefully we'll gain some time, but I just wanted to make sure that we're all on the same level. I know we've got our little groups, but it's important to look at the bigger picture. All right, so the next person is Project One? Okay, Project One. Yeah, so